You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. All right, Tucker Carlson's interview with Candace Owens last night, everyone was talking about it, and I did watch the interview. And I got to tell you, Tucker's done a lot of interviews, and a couple of them have been with foreigners that I wasn't all that interested in, but his interviews have been pretty spectacular.
They're good.
This may be something a lot of you do not agree with, okay, what I'm about to say about this Candace Owens interview. And this is no knock against Tucker Carlson. He's one of the best interviewers I've ever seen. Candace Owens was the least interesting woman I have heard interviewed since Howard Stern interviewed Madonna.
Yeah, and she's pretty boring.
And Candace Owens, I found that interview, and this is no statement on Tucker because, the materials he had to work with were so poor. She was terminally uninteresting and boring. And I haven't seen Candace Owens in a long, extended interview ever before. I've seen clips of her here and there. I've seen her on television as a pundit. I've seen some clips of her own show, but I've never heard her interviewed for an extended period of time. And I don't know how long the interview was. It seemed like it was like 2.5 hours. It wasn't that long, I know, but it seemed like 2.5 hours. And Candace Owens, I'm here to tell you, this controversy she has going on with Ben Shapiro, she took some jabs at Ben Shapiro, and she's going to lose this one. And I just want to talk about this in the beginning. I did an entire program yesterday morning on the whole detailed backstory that has led up to the confrontation and to the Tucker interview. So if you want to hear all the background, go and listen to that program on Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. But here's the thing. Candace Owens, when she's taken a very unpopular position in regards to Israel. And, Candace Owens, I don't know Candace Owens. I haven't really met Candace Owens, but I've been in a room with Candace Owens and other people when I went to an event, I don't know, about a year and a half ago. And she's very charismatic. When she walks into the room, she's got that it factor and everyone was interested in her and all of this. But since she went over there to the Daily Wire, her ego has steadily gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And everything she talks about, it's no longer about the issues or the topics. It's all about her and what people are saying about her and how people are responding to her and what she's doing and what this guy did because of her. She's no longer really talking about the issues. It's all about her. And I think that might be what it made her not all that interesting. But, a lot of people that are celebrities have a backstory of all kinds of things. Tucker Carlson, he's got a big backstory. He's worked at every one of the different networks, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. He's got a whole thing. Hannity spent many years getting to where he is. She got somewhere overnight. She doesn't have much of a backstory, and there's not much there to Candace Owens. So what had happened with Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, she said some things about Israel that just showed how uninformed she is. I'm not saying she's stupid. You're not stupid when you haven't been given knowledge.
How about ignorant?
On the issue. And she had made a couple of comments, but one in particular that she made that really got things going is she talked about when she was on a visit to Israel. She was given a tour that was done by a rabbi.
Right.
And they took her through this area. I can't remember if it was Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. I think it was Jerusalem. And they took her to the Muslim quarter. And she said that Israel racially segregates Muslims. They're only allowed to live in certain areas. And that's not the case. She had a comedian on who was not being funny. He was being serious about what was going on. And he's a Jewish comedian. And he was explaining to her, no. That's like if you go to a area that's majority African American, that doesn't mean they're racially segregated there. That just means, So he said there's a Muslim quarter, but Muslims can live anywhere they want in Israel. Well, she was pretty embarrassed by that. And a lot of times, when you are a public speaker and you say something stupid and it's embarrassing, you're being embarrassed in front of a lot of people, and it's very difficult. And how people react. I'm older than Candace, so I've been doing this for a long time. And I've learned a lot. And one of the things I've learned is I only talk about things that I am knowledgeable on. I don't go outside of my sphere of knowledge.
She thought she was knowledgeable.
Well, she thinks she knows everything.
Yeah.
Because she's got this ego. And if I'm wrong about something and I'm on the air, it happens. And I'll say, oh, okay, I didn't know that.
That's the best thing to do.
But that's honest.
I was misinformed.
No one can know anything.
I wasn't
everything.
aware, stuff like that.
No one can know everything.
Exactly.
But she didn't know something. She had wrong information. She was very embarrassed. So what she did was double down on her anti-Israeli position. Mm-hmm. And then she started challenging Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro was at a private event. He was asked a question. I got all this audio and everything else on my previous show in much more detail. I'm just doing a Reader's Digest version of this because something else has happened. So he was at a private event taking questions from a small private audience, and someone asked him about Candace Owens, and he said that the way she's acting is reckless, reprehensible, her lack of knowledge, And
maybe she just hates Jews.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, maybe it just comes down to that. She's just an anti-Semite.
Perhaps. And someone...
maybe you're just giving her too much credit.
I'm not giving her too much credit.
Excusing it.
I'm not excusing it. I'm just giving people the backstory of what happened. I'm not giving my opinion.
No, I'm saying maybe she's just an anti-Semite.
Yeah, it's very possible.
That could just be the simple explanation.
So someone recorded the Ben Shapiro thing, put it online, it went viral. And then all of a sudden she's on Tucker. And Tucker really was not prepared for that interview like he normally is. It was like a rushed interview. Okay, everyone's talking about Candace Owens. This thing happened with Ben Shapiro. And he set up this interview, and he really didn't know any of the backstory. He just knew who she is and got her in there, and he wasn't really well equipped like he normally is because he's normally more than prepared.
Oh, for sure.
But he was trying to get this – Tucker was trying to get this viral thing going, and he did it without being prepared and gave her a free ride. And what Candace Owens did in all of her arrogance on Tucker's program is the beginning of the end of her career with the Daily Wire, which is a big deal. And this is what had happened. Tucker asked her, well, is he your boss? And she says, no. There are co-CEOs. He lives in Florida. We're based in Nashville. He's not involved in the day-to-day. Ben Shapiro does not have a technical management position at the Daily Wire, but he's the co-founder of it.
Well, the way she said it, the way she described that, because I heard that exchange, it came across to me because she said, I'm here in Nashville. I have great relationships with them. And Ben's not here. He doesn't have those interpersonal, inter-office things. It made it sound to me like she's saying she's in a better position than him, and she's higher up at the Daily Wire than he is.
She's out of her mind.
That she is more important to them than he is.
In fact,
that's how she sees herself.
I'm not a fan of either of these people, okay? I'm not a fan of Ben Shapiro or Candace Owens. I never have been. Ben Shapiro does live in Florida. He lives not far from our house. He lives down the street from us, actually. The reason he lives here and not in Nashville, where the Daily Wire is based, is because he doesn't want to be involved in the day-to-day. He could be. He could be over there running the place pretty much if he wanted to.
I don't know. There's a thing called Zoom, and there's a thing called phones and texting. So you don't have to be physically in a location anymore to have a major part of a company. People do everything remotely now.
That's right.
So he doesn't have to be there physically to have influence or she thinks because she's there high-fiving everybody in the halls and having eye contact, maybe that does give her somewhat of an advantage, but it can also be a detriment too.
He's the co-founder.
So
he's the face of the organization.
She made it out like she's better than him because I'm here in person and he can't be bothered.
He doesn't have to be bothered unless he wants to be. And then Ben Shapiro today, and here's the update in the aftermath. She had put out a tweet prior to the Tucker Carlson interview talking about putting money over God in a very long, biblical tweet directed towards Ben Shapiro and saying that he's putting money ahead of God. And Ben Shapiro tweeted, if the money you're earning at the Daily Wire is getting between you and God, why don't you quit? Why don't you quit? And this is Candace Owens this is really it's an interesting thing to follow the egos of people. I did this a lot with Glenn Beck, who destroyed himself with his ego. See, what Candace Owens, what she's done, eventually she's going to leave the Daily Wire because Ben Shapiro is not going to put up with that. And she said, if you go and watch that Tucker interview, her body language towards Ben Shapiro was like what you were talking about, Kathy, was very dismissive. And this is what's going to happen. Eventually, she's going to leave the Daily Wire. And when she does, she's alienated the conservative MAGA base for the trashing of Donald Trump. She's come out with anti-Semitic positions towards Israel. She's going to have very few options when she leaves the Daily Wire.
Well, I'll disagree with you on that. I don't think she will leave. I think she's in a pissing contest with Ben Shapiro.
She's going to lose it.
And she is going to make them decide, who do you like more? You want him or you want me? She's not gonna walk away from that kind of money.
He founded the place.
Well, I'm just saying that doesn't matter. So did Project Veritas.
No, that was
look
different.
What happened to him?
No.
Or the guy from Papa John's.
No, that was different.
CEOs and founders get booted out all the time.
No, that was different because with Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, that wasn't a company. That was a charity, like a nonprofit kind of thing with donors. That was a different thing.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think she's going to leave. It's too much money. It's too much notoriety. She's got her own show. She's got a glam squad. She's not going to walk away from that. She is going to give them an ultimatum and make them. She's now going to try to humiliate him.
Yes.
And try to get him fired.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's possible. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's what she's trying to get him to leave, get him to quit.
She's going to walk in and say it's him and me at some point because this is going to escalate. And I'll tell you, a lot of
try to make him quit.
A lot of these things that happen between high-profile people online is all fake. This is not fake. This is very real. Yeah. This is not a publicity thing. He's not going to leave. In fact, I don't understand his popularity. I'm not a fan of Ben Shapiro. He talks as fast as an auctioneer.
A lot of hype.
And but
maybe she is more popular.
No,
than
she's
him.
not. In fact, he has. On his YouTube and podcast, he is second only to Joe Rogan, and his viewership.
I don't know how people can listen to this guy.
I don't understand it either, but he's far and above Candace Owens by millions and millions each week, and anybody else around except Joe Rogan. Okay, he and Joe Rogan are the top two dogs. So and Jeremy, the Jeremy Chocolates guy that over there, he's the other founder of the Daily Wire.
Well,
and him and Ben Shapiro
try to knock him off his perch.
Him and Ben Shapiro used to live together before they were rich and famous. Yeah. They go way back. She's going to lose that, and it's really unfortunate because
she's like Yoko Ono.
I've worked with Steve Kane for over 30 years on the radio.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to say that Steve and I have always gotten along and agreed on every single thing over the years. I mean, obviously we haven't agreed on everything and everything. But we get along, and we get along in a very difficult business because there's ego involved, and that's what's going on here. And I talked to Steve about this because, in the broadcasting business, it's unusual for people to get along. What's going on with Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro is typical in any type of television, radio, broadcasting business. I've seen it happen. And it's always ego. And Steve said the reason we get along so well is because we understand it's not ego, it's a business. And what we do is for the betterment of the business, not our egos when it gets down to it. And that's true.
It's very true. In fact, you and Steve might have a disagreement on the air. And then after the show, you talk like nothing happened.
No, we don't argue off the air.
You don't.
No,
it's off
the air. No.
You just. It's not that it's not real what's happening, but it's not. You don't take it personal.
That's correct.
Is what I'm saying. You guys, it's not false. You really are arguing, but you don't take it home with you. You don't take it personally. It's your job, and then you don't let it affect your relationship.
There's two things, and I'm able to separate them, as is Steve. And there's what you're doing on the air, which is very serious and very important. And then there's the business aspect. This isn't the best term to use, but broadcasting, whether you're podcasting, you're on YouTube, you're on the radio, you're on television, it's part of show business.
Yeah.
Okay. And the business end is what people forget about. And what's going on with Candace Owens, see, this is the thing with Candace Owens. I was with her at this event here in South Florida, and I can't remember the name of the event now. The Faith and Freedom Tour. Okay, it was the Faith and Freedom Tour in Fort Lauderdale about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And Candace Owens was there. Sarah Huckabee was there. Donald Trump was there. Donald Trump Jr. was there. Kim Guilfoyle was there. There were other people too. Top people in the Republican MAGA movement were all there. And now Donald Trump, of course, came in at the end. But all the others, Don Jr., Kim Guilfoyle, and I wish I could remember all the others, but there were a lot of very famous people in Candace Owens. And they did this thing where you could pay for a photo op with them. Candace Owens had the longest line of anyone there other than Donald Trump. That's a different thing.
Well, that's what I mean. Maybe she's just super popular.
She is. But that was before she trashed Trump, though. And she's trashed Trump since, and she's lost a lot of her support since then. Her numbers have gone down. She's lost a lot of her popularity.
I'll have to do a poll on your channel and see if she's still as liked or if people have soured on her.
Well, what happens with celebrities is people like her, they become celebrities. And it happens, I told you this, it happens overnight for a lot of people, and the fame gets them.
I definitely can see that with her.
When you have a backstory like Tucker, or, like in obviously I'm not as big as them, but I have some celebrity, I do personal appearances, I do a cruise every year, and, they're listeners and stuff. I've been doing it so long, it's a gradual thing that happens, and it's a gradual thing. Okay, you're on the air, you have a following, people meet you, people come up to you. Then it grows and grows and grows. When it happens overnight, like it does with Candace Owens, that's where the egos get out of control, and her ego is so out of control against Ben Shapiro. It's going to be her undoing. I think if she will go, you guys let us know what you think in the comments. If Candace Owens were to go into the offices of the Daily Wire and say it's Ben or me, who would they choose? The reason I brought this up on this program, I had no intention on talking about this again. And I looked on social media and on Twitter, I looked on Truth Social, and I looked on YouTube right before the podcast. Everyone is talking about this tweet of Ben Shapiro's telling Candace Owens to quit the Daily Wire. So things are escalating now. And what happens when there's a conflict is the people in their circle start whispering in their ears and getting them worked up. And then it escalates. So this is going to be brutal.
Well, the only thing she might have, and I can see her doing this to her advantage.
I hate to sound like a gossip show, guys,
right,
but that's
it's okay.
on.
For being there. The only advantage I could say for her being there and being present is they do have probably a relationship with her that's a little different. And she has their ear maybe more, and maybe she can manipulate a little more. She's very pretty, and she's very confident. And I think Tucker went easy on her because he thinks she's hot, and I think he wanted her to like him. I mean, I think she has that effect on men. I could be wrong. Maybe it's sexist to say that, but whenever she does interviews, these guys seem to go really easy on her. So I think that's part of the factor too. Is she's very attractive.
Well, she's also very pregnant right now during that.
Well,
interview.
whatever.
You gotta give a pregnant woman a hard time.
They go easy on her. But I don't know if she can manipulate to get rid of Shapiro. But who knows? Stranger things have happened. I mean, you have two people now. The other hand is, and I had said this to you, that it could be good for business. This kind of drama. And this could be getting people to be more interested in the Daily Wire and subscribe. Ooh, what's going on? There's drama. There's a fight. Ooh, sign me up. People love to watch a train wreck.
That's right.
I think that they might milk it, and it might be good for business for these people. It's getting a lot of publicity, and maybe they're bringing in more money. So,
well, I got to tell you, even though I'm not fans of either one of them, if I had to choose between the two, I would choose to keep her. I don't find Ben Shapiro likable at all.
No.
And Candace Owens,
she's more interesting to listen to, and she communicates better.
If she could be brought down to earth a little bit more, and not just talk about herself and what people are saying about her, and got back to the issues, it'd be much better.
but people keep asking about her, and they keep driving her into that direction. Plus, she's got like a glam squad, and does she still even have her own show on there?
Yeah, absolutely.
She's like, probably feels she's like Oprah, and doing all this stuff, and she's making millions of dollars, and she's very successful.
She's got a rich husband.
Good for her.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. But I don't think either one of them is going to go. I think it's good for their business to keep this going, unless one of them quits, like Shepard Smith, which was the biggest mistake of his career.
That was crazy.
My goodness. Shepard Smith should have stuck it out because Tucker's gone. He quit because of Tucker.
At Fox, yeah.
Who would let somebody control their career like that? I couldn't believe, Shepard Smith was a reporter in Miami when we were growing up, when we were in middle school and high school. He was a reporter down here on our local news. And Brian and I grew up in Broward County, and we would get the Miami news. So we knew him very well. He was very good. He was right out of college, young guy, for WSVN, which was the big Fox network down here. And I guess maybe that's how he ended up with Fox nationally. But wasn't it Fox? SVN, wasn't it Fox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that goes way back. And he quit his lucrative, multi-million-dollar career. He had an 8 o'clock show or 7 o'clock show.
Well, he was more than just a host at Fox News. He was the managing news director at Fox News Channel.
And now he has a hissy fit. He couldn't take the heat, leaves, and now Tucker's gone.
And he's gone. But is he still on CNBC?
Nobody knows.
He fell off the face of the earth.
It's incredible.
So
don't let people make you decide your career for you.
That's a little bit of drama that's going on over there, and I'm following it. Now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's so much to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on this Candace Owens Ben Shapiro feud. Who's going to win it, Ben Shapiro or her?
Which team are you? Team Shapiro or Team Owens?
I don't like that because I'm not in either team.
Then I'll put neither as an option.
Who's going to win in the end? Who will be the one when it's all said and done that's still at the Daily Wire?
I think they should hire you personally.
At the Daily Wire?
Yes.
I don't know. I got a lot of shows saying a lot of things not kind about Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens.
That might not work.
And Brett Cooper and everybody else at the Daily Wire.
That's true. You're always trashing them. So maybe might not be such a thing.
So if they go through my catalog of programs,
they'll be like, screw this guy.
Exactly. He doesn't like any of us.
No, my goodness.
He's just pretending now for the big job. All right, listen, we'll be right back after this.
From author Stephanie Tayo comes a book that takes place in Cornwall, Ontario, where it seems that dreams can come true and life feels uncomplicated. But one young woman's world is about to be forever transformed. Love Beyond Age. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online booksellers. In Love Beyond Age, meet Quinn. She's a determined soul with aspirations of becoming a psychologist. She shares a simple life with her dad, saving every penny for her dreams. But life has a way of throwing unexpected curveballs. Everything changes when she crosses paths with James, whose presence by the river ignites a connection neither can deny. As their university journeys begin, Quinn finds herself torn between her deepening connection with the mysterious James and her growing feelings for her competitive friend Jasper. Secrets are unveiled, revelations come to light, and Quinn discovers a shocking truth about James' hidden secret. As danger lurks on the horizon, relationships are put to the test, and old emotions resurface. A love triangle takes hold, pushing Quinn to the brink. She faces a choice that will shape her future and define her path. Love Beyond Age, from author Stephanie Tayo, is a story of love, secrets, and choices that will tug at your heartstrings. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple Books, and other online booksellers. Order your copy right now and be transported to a world where romance is intertwined with the complexities of life. Love Beyond Age, from author Stephanie Tayo. Order your copy right now. Are you looking for a way to help your child become a more kind, compassionate, and caring person? Then look no further than Adventures in Human Values Series 1. This box set of 9 books explores 9 important human values, including courage, kindness, forgiveness, teamwork, compassion, listening, caring, self-confidence, and sharing. Each book is full of colorful illustrations and engaging stories that will capture your child's imagination and teach them valuable lessons about life. With Adventures in Human Values Series 1, your child will learn the importance of having moral courage in the face of adversity, being kind to others when people around them are not being kind, and forgiving others as well as themselves. The books also contain an insightful summary that delves into each story's deeper meaning, along with thought-provoking questions that will tap into your child's innocence and help develop their critical thinking and intuition. These books are the perfect way to teach your child about the importance of human values in a fun and engaging way. Order your copy of Adventures in Human Values Series 1 today at hv4k.com. Individual ebooks are also available on amazon.com by searching Adventures in Human Values. Adventures in Human Values Series 1, teaching children about the importance of human values. A valuable investment for parents who want to raise their children to be kind, compassionate, and caring people. Enter a realm where morality intertwines with the mysteries of existence and embracing eternity. From author Hadir Al-Chalabi, available on Amazon. When you read Embracing Eternity, you're not just reading a story, you're stepping into a cosmic tapestry where societal norms and individual beliefs collide in a spectacular dance of intrigue and wonder. Follow Victoria on her globe-trotting odyssey. Her journey isn't just across continents, but deep into the heart of what makes us human. If you're ready to challenge your convictions, engage with profound ethical dilemmas that stir your soul, then order your copy of Embracing Eternity. From author Hadir Al-Chalabi, this is a literary adventure of a lifetime. It's available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions on Amazon. Embrace your journey into eternity and explore the unknown with Embracing Eternity, available on Amazon. Embark on a culinary journey that will tantalize your taste buds and elevate your overall well-being with the Mediterranean Diet Cookbook for Newbies 2023 from Connoisseur of Flavors and author Donald Emmerich. Available right now on Amazon. The Mediterranean Diet Cookbook for Newbies 2023 is your compass to a healthier lifestyle, filled with 120 recipes thoughtfully designed for beginners. Each dish is a celebration of flavor and health. It's more than just a diet. It's a way of life. With this must-read book, you'll embrace vitality and have boundless energy with easy-to-follow recipes and a meticulously crafted meal plan. There's also a handy weekly shopping list that takes the guesswork out of your grocery shopping. Enjoy hearty breakfast, satisfying main dishes, and sweet desserts. This is perfect for any dietary need, including meat, poultry, seafood, and vegetarian options. It's time to transform your eating habits and embrace a healthier, more flavorful lifestyle. Order your copy of the Mediterranean Diet Cookbook for Newbies 2023 from author Donald Emmerich on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And those of you that are Patreon supporters, make sure you go to the Patreon page and take advantage of the exclusive everything that's there. Kathy and I post a lot of things there that no one else sees. Of course, commercial-free editions of every podcast episode and more. Okay, you can also direct messages there and everything else. So make sure you keep up on all of that. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. And the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Heather, David, Melissa, and Maria in Texas. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thanks so much. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode, as well as a direct link on my website, BrianCraigShow.com. Click that link. You might have to copy and paste it depending on the platform, and it'll explain itself how to become a Patreon supporter. I want to give an update because this is kind of a public service to pet owners out there about our dog, Nina. And we just had a horrific thing almost happen this week. And I know we've mentioned a couple times, our dog Nina is 17 years old. And she's been having a lot of health problems, which is not 17. She's the oldest dog I've ever had. The oldest dog I had before her was 16. A dog I had when I was in high school and died at 16. She had a stroke. So at 17, she's the oldest dog I've ever had. And, so she's been having a lot of health problems. And there's a vet that we went to with our pets for years and years and years, but they've been so busy we can never get an appointment with them.
They literally have like one exam room and one doctor, and he spends a lot. He's very good. He's like he kind of reminds like an old country doctor.
Yeah.
He'll spend a long time with you and your pet. He really cares.
Yeah, and it's hard to get in for an appointment.
He's fantastic.
And so we found a new vet in the area, and they've been treating her and
our cat.
But she hasn't been getting better. And I went to California, you guys, and before I left for California, I almost canceled the trip. Kathy didn't go with me. I went out to visit our daughter who moved to Los Angeles. And as many of you know, because I did some YouTube videos on this. And the day that I was leaving, the dog took a downturn, wasn't doing well, and it was just, oh, man. But I said, okay, we'll take her to the vet when I get back. We did, and she was not doing well. I mean, the look on her face was like, can you help me, guys? Can you please help me? What's wrong? And what they told us was wrong with her is that she needed major dental work, pretty much all of her teeth pulled. And, of course, when you do this, there's total anesthesia on a dog when you have dental work. Right. We've had dental work done on her before years ago, and they were going to put her under total anesthesia, and they told us that all the problems she was having was from an infection she had in her gums. And
they wanted $2,000.
They had $2,000 and $2,000 for the dental work, which we would pay. I mean, she's our dog.
Yeah, if we had to, we'd have to do it.
But I was, both of us, she's 17, and the anesthesia made me really nervous, and she was having some other symptoms that I'm not going to get graphic about because you guys don't need to hear the symptoms, but she was having some other symptoms, and Kathy and I are just like, that's okay. We understand she needs dental work, but we were concerned about the anesthesia, but the problem she's been having cannot be from the teeth, okay? They cannot be from her teeth. So we got into the old vet we used to go to. Kathy called and said it's an emergency.
Yeah,
and we got in for an emergency appointment. He told her she wouldn't survive the anesthesia for dental work. Number one, and then he did a couple of tests that they didn't do and found out that she had eaten some things outside. She had at least 4 parasites in her intestines
and her stomach
that were eating her alive and sucking her blood like leeches and eating all the food she was consuming. And he
the other vet didn't even check for that stuff after 2 visits. I was so pissed.
And I don't think, and he said she would not have survived the surgery probably because of her age with the anesthesia. And I'm so glad we got a second opinion.
Yeah, and he gave her 3 shots. He gave her an oral liquid medication. He said this will kill all the parasites in her stomach. She had parasites in her stomach and her intestines. And he said they're sucking her blood and they're eating her food. She's lost 4 pounds and they're eating her food. She's stopped eating. And so then he also chipped off some of the plaque off her teeth. She had a lot of plaque on her teeth. So if we hadn't taken her to him, I hate to think this was so stressful this week with the dog. And I was so relieved. She's like her old self today. He said she will feel better by tomorrow. She's eating. He said these work instantly. So she was dewormed, deparasited, all this stuff, and she didn't like it. Believe me, he had to, especially the teeth part, she hated. But you got to do what you got to do, and I'm a big believer in second opinions. I mean, I don't know how a dog, blood coming out of their
I don't need to get all that stuff.
I don't know how that comes from the mouth and the teeth. That's what the first vet told us, which is ridiculous. And I asked my mom, who's a nurse. She said, "There's no way in hell that's coming from the mouth."
No, I didn't.
And he even looked at her mouth. The second dentist vet, he said, "There's no blood here." We didn't say anything to him about the other vet, but he said, "There's no bleeding here in the gums. No bleeding. It's just tartar."
There was no infection.
No, it was inflamed.
Inflamed, yeah. No infection, but there was some.
But he
inflammation.
put her on an antibiotic. He gave her. She's on antibiotic for 5 days, 3 shots. Medication down the stomach. He said this should take care of everything.
The reason I bring this up, because sometimes when we have these vet issues, I bring them up. Veterinarian medicine is it's a sad thing, but most of them are con artists. that are
I felt like they were like mechanics.
They're just they're just out there to get your money. They don't care about the animals. They don't care about you.
Yeah, it was really disheartening.
They don't care about your money. I mean, all they care about is your money. They don't care about your pet.
That's right.
And it's really sad. And when you can find an honest vet, that's like gold.
When we left that first one, and they sent me her labs, and they sent me an estimate, like we're getting my car repaired, and they wanted $2,000 to take out her teeth and do an X-ray and all this stuff. And and we took her in for GI problems, and they don't even check for GI issues. I thought, this guy's a quack. And I'm like, so what? And then I read the reviews. They have really good reviews, but one person about 2 months ago said, I brought my dog in for a problem, and they worked around that problem. It cost me a fortune, and then they finally got to the real problem after I spent $4,000.
It's awful.
And that's what they were doing with us.
Okay, so you just gave me this article. See, this
is an update in the drama here.
This is the New York Post. Today, it says Candace Owens slams emotionally unhinged.
Oh boy, it's
Ben Shapiro as Israel feud escalates. You know,
oh my goodness! I told you she's trying to get him to quit.
I'll read through this a little bit, but here's the other thing. Okay, the issue she's chosen to go after Ben Shapiro on is the issue that's most important to him, which is Israel. This isn't like some generic issue.
But why does she say he's emotionally unhinged? Give an example.
I don't know. Let me read the article. I haven't read the article. He just handed me this article. So she's one of the reasons she's doomed against him is because she's picked not just on him, the co-founder of the Daily Wire, but she's picked on the issue he's most sensitive about, which is Israel. Okay, so this is a New York Post article. I'll just read this, and I've not read this article, so I'm reading it cold. Candace Owens blasted Ben Shapiro as emotionally unhinged and unprofessional. This is the latest escalation in the feud between the two Daily Wire stars over Israel. Owens on Wednesday took to social media to respond to Ben Shapiro, the co-founder of the Daily Wire, who urged her to quit the right-leaning news outlet. Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means, quit. You put this on Twitter.
They're trying to get each other to quit now, I guess.
While Shapiro is a co-founder and co-owner of the news site. See, I told you, co-owner. And I bet you he's got a pretty solid stake since he was the co-founder. He has stated in the past he doesn't have the authority to fire Owens. I've heard him say these things. Well, I'll tell you, I don't believe that. I can't. It wasn't Candace Owens. Someone else at the Daily Wire did something, and people were going to him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm co-owner, but I'm not in management. I don't have the authority." It was like something he said to get out of the issue. Like I have no responsibility with that. I can't remember what it was, but he just didn't want to be responsible for it, and that was like an out. Caleb Robinson, who was CEO of the Daily Wire, has hiring and firing power. Shapiro, who holds the title of editor emeritus, in addition to his duties as host of the Ben Shapiro Show, was responding to a post from Owens in which she quoted a verse from the book of Matthew. The blessed are the peacemakers quote from the Bible. And then she went on to say, no one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money, she wrote.
So they're both accusing each other of being money-hungry, anti-Christian, or anti-religious, or anti-God, or whatever.
This is the thing.
That's kind of funny.
Okay, this is the thing. When this God and money thing, talking to Ben Shapiro, that is one of the old anti-Semitic things that people say. You understand what I mean? That's an old anti-Semitic trope. You've heard that. And that...
In fact, we were watching an old movie once, a silent film, and they did not depict Jews very well. In this one movie we saw, and it had an issue. It had a scene with money, and it was crazy.
Ben Shapiro responded to Owens by urging her to resign, prompting Owens to hit back. Okay, hold on. It just
this is getting interesting.
Refreshed. He said this. You have been acting unprofessional and emotionally unhinged for weeks now.
He said this?
Let's see here.
Oh, my goodness. They're both kind of accusing each other of the same thing, so it's hard to keep it straight a little bit.
The way this is written, it's hard. Candace Owens wrote, you cannot serve both God and money. You have been acting unprofessional and emotionally unhinged for weeks now, and we have all had to sit back and allow it, and have all tried to exercise exceeding understanding for your raw emotions. That's her about him with Israel. she says it's too personal for him. But you cross a certain line when you come for scripture and read yourself into it. This is Candace Owens. Okay. Shapiro responded. It's a poorly written article, guys.
Yeah.
Shapiro responded to Candace Owens by urging her to resign, prompting Owens to hit back. You have been acting unprofessional and emotionally unhinged for weeks now, Candace Owens wrote. Okay, they have the same thing twice in the same article.
Yeah, a lot of articles are very poorly written these days.
Oh, my goodness. These people go to school?
Yeah, I know. I notice that in a lot of news articles now. They're like very, you know what it is? They copy and paste.
Yes.
And they do it twice. That's what all these articles are now, is copying, pasting from other people. They don't even write anything anymore.
Yeah, they do. They copy and paste. They're all plagiarists.
So they did it twice.
They had the same thing twice.
That's what they did.
But the second time it had quotation marks.
Oh, my
It didn't have quotation marks
They
the
forgot
first
to
time.
delete the first one.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Shapiro on the video that was leaked out says, I think Candace Owens' behavior has been disgraceful.
Do you think he wanted to hire her, or do you think they did it with him and he didn't want her there? I'm starting to wonder if he even wanted her there in the first place. You know, if he can't hire or fire people, they might have done it with that. Maybe they've never gotten along.
I don't know.
But they always stayed in each other's lane. But when she started saying things that were kind of anti-Semitic, I knew this is going to definitely be a problem. The guy wears a yarmulke everywhere he goes. He's obviously a very devout Jew. And, you know, that's going to be an issue.
He's Orthodox. He's very religious.
Exactly. They're not going to fire either one of these. I think the drama is going to be very good for their business. That's the way it is. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking.
Everyone's talking about it.
They'll get a lot more people to sign up, and it's a pissing contest who's going to quit. And, you know, hopefully neither one of them will quit. They'll just go back and forth. But it's going to come to a head at some point.
It's too personal.
It's going to come to a head.
It's too personal between the two of them.
I think she'll end up leaving. I think it'll be her.
I think she will.
I think she'll end up leaving, because what happens with these things is the people in the company will take sides.
Yeah.
And that's inevitably what's going to happen. And there's going to be a lot of gossip, and it's going to poison the company, and they're going to have to get rid of somebody, because it's going to become a real problem there eventually, where it's going to start dividing the other employees, because they're such big personalities, both of them. And that's when it's going to become a problem. And they're going to be like, they're going to say to Ben, well, one of you's got to go, because this is not getting better. I'm sure they've had meetings with them, and they're like, now they're probably loving it. But it's going to come to a point where they're going to have to say, all right, we got to settle down and move beyond this. But it could divide the company. People do take sides when it comes to that.
Well, and it's unfortunate, because while I don't like the two of these, and I've never been a fan of – there's some things I like on the Daily Wire. There's a lot of things I don't like on the Daily Wire. We're coming into an –
You like his movies.
That movie he did was good. The one on the school shooting, Run, Hide, Fight, that was very good. That was a very good movie. Run, Hide, Fight. While I don't agree with a lot of what goes on there, and I don't like a lot of the personalities, and I think like Michael Knowles is weird. He's just a weird, strange cat, that guy. And he's so obsessed with transgender things. It's just very weird.
The only thing I didn't like in Run, Hide, Fight, which I thought was really stupid and just a typical guy thing to do, is there's a scene where the shooters are in this classroom with this Spanish teacher with huge boobs, and he makes her take her shirt off in front of everybody, or he's going to shoot somebody. I thought that was totally unnecessary and demeaning, and I don't know why every time a guy does a film, they got to show some woman's boobs.
No,
I tell you.
But
it's ridiculous.
The problem with...
I think Ben Shapiro just wanted to see them for himself.
I don't know. The problem, though, is we're going into this election cycle. Yeah. The Daily Wire does perform a very good service if you're, in the MAGA movement. And to see them diminished by something like this, which very well could happen, is not good. And Candace Owens, if she goes out on her own, which I think she wants to be on her own. I think, she's got 2 kids and she's got another one on the way.
Well, this is just
I don't think she wants to work for them anymore.
She has made her career off trolling people. Mm-hmm. So she's now trolling him. And every person she has trolled has elevated her up that ladder. And it's elevated her to the top.
Yeah.
And it's all off the backs of other people, of famous people. Yeah, she always trolls famous people, and they take the bait. And it elevates her even more. And maybe that's what she's doing with him, and she figures this is going to put me above him.
Well, listen, guys, we're out of time for today, and we'll be back next time, and it won't be a gossip show next time. But this is
I think it's important to talk about that.
I do, too. I agree.
If everybody's talking about it in the news,
it's important.
I think it's important, and I think it's okay to gossip. Sometimes it's interesting.
It is. I do think it's important to discuss, and I'm glad we talked about it. But it's going to play out soon. My name is Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.